Hello again. I can say that now because it's the second stream of Onyx Dragon Gaming. And hello out there to everyone who's watching. Hello especially to the family Greaves, Ben, Lydia, and especially James. Hello. Coming to you live from Internet Land. Right, let's get started with tonight's hobby. We have first thing. Look at this. Look at these beautiful ranked up models. Look at them. Square bases galore. Oh, it's good to see guys lined up in nice serried ranks again. Tonight we are going to be painting the rest of these 10 goblins and basing them as well. So you go through how I base models specifically for this army, but it's kind of, I tend to use the same sort of hello there, James. I tend to use the same sort of method for most of my armies, so it'll give you a broad overview of what I do. You can tailor it to various colours and types of situation where you want armies where you want them in different climates and whatnot. If we get those done, we're going to give a bit of a giveaway for what we're going to be doing on Friday. What we're going to be doing on Friday. So we decided. I say we, like it's not just me. I've decided I'm going to be streaming 3 nights a week now. 2 of those nights, Mondays and Wednesdays, we're going to be continuing this project with the Night Goblins. But Friday's going to be more of a chilled stream. I'm just going to paint random stuff that I feel like. Completely random models. I don't know what it will be until that day. I might just pick something random out of my collection and we'll have a go with it. It might be something relevant to what's coming out from Games Workshop or other companies. It might just be a model I've had sat around for ages that I really want to paint. A quick sneak preview for those of you who are here already of what we're going to be doing on Friday. Dun dun dun! Dark Angels Terminators. Yes, that's what I've made earlier, as I like to always have one that I've done, and we're probably going to be painting at least one, hopefully 2 or 3. Of these lovely, amazing new style GW Terminators. Obviously a complete departure from the absolutely tiny little goblin dudes that we've been doing so far, side by side. Just a little bit of size difference, but you know, that's the way it is. So, on to basing. One thing I like to use for my basing is sand, but a very specific type of sand. Now, you can go out and buy play sand or builder sand or anything like that, but the sand I like to use the most is bird sand, which you can find in pet shops and things like that. You can buy an awful lot of it, like 1 kilo, 2 kilos, for a very little amount of money. And it comes with little chunks, little bits of like crushed up shells, a couple of fish, things like that in it as well, which gives it a little bit of texture. Personally, I'm a bit anally. Some of the tech things are a bit too big for me, so sometimes I like to filter the sand so it's a bit more fine grain. And I literally do that by throwing it through a kitchen sieve that I have specifically for the purpose. And I've done that here, and I've got myself a little tub. I put it in an old blister pack that I found in one of my drawers. Apparently it was a Commando 3-inch mortar team for Warlord Games. And now it's where I keep my sand for bringing in for here. So, firstly, what we need to do, we need something that's going to fix the sand to the bases. So, for that, we just use good old PVA glue, which is available in most places, all sorts of shops, hobby shops, DIY places. You can get it wherever. So, I used to pour it out from this massive bottle, but I found actually, usually at the time, if I give it a good shake, the bit I need is just going to be left in the lid. So we're going to use that as our little well. And I have, just for the purpose, a really manky old brush that I've completely messed up so that it doesn't ruin any of my lovely, beautiful brushes. So we're going to get some onto the first base. We start with Jeff, our little mascot from last time, Jeff the Netter. He's going to be the privilege of being the first one of our goblins from Monday to be based. So we're just going to spread around liberally a layer of PVA glue, making sure we cover everywhere. Now, the thing with this is, it doesn't matter if you get any on places you don't want to. The instant reaction would be, oh no, I need to go in there and completely like wipe it all off and clean it all off. But actually, I find it's easier to do once it's dried with the sand on, because you can go in with either the back end of a paintbrush or a hobby knife or a sculpture or anything, basically anything, and just chip it off. It's so much easier than trying to mess around with cleaning the glue off, because what you actually tend to do, for the most part, is end up putting it on even more places that you don't want it to be. So I'm pretty certain that's Jeff's layer of PVA. So let's see if we can open this without spilling it absolutely everywhere. So here we go. So literally I just bury it in the sand, run it round, and then just turn it round, let it most of it come off, little tap, job's a good one. And now he's going to sit there and wait for that glue to dry. And now we're going to rinse and repeat with the other painted fellows, which is not the command rank, because we're going to have fun painting those guys tonight. So let's get back more into this. So tonight, I was hoping tonight that we would get to paint some wolves for our Goblin Wolf Riders, but sadly, due to the vagaries of postal delivery services, they haven't quite arrived yet. But not to worry, I've always got backup plans, and like I said, that's going to be a bit of a teaser for Friday's stream, which, like I said, is going to be some Deathwing Terminators. Evening there, my friend. Nice to see you back. Thank you for coming and joining us again. So yeah, as I was saying, we're going to be more Night Goblin action tonight, but Friday's going to be something a bit different. We're going to be painting some Deathwing Terminators, which I am a little bit nervous of and excited for. I love, obviously I've said before, I absolutely love my Dark Angels, but Deathwing have always been, because they're really bright bone white armour, have always been in the past somewhat of a daunting challenge for me. There's a little bit of nonsense on there. But finally, I think I've come up with a recipe. Yes. And now for something completely different, Night Goblins. But we're doing basing, so that's something a bit different. We're going to do some basing, and we're going to have some fun on the command rank. We did parts of the banner on Monday, but we're going to finish that. And we're going to do a bit of extra, some cool stuff on this champion and his awesome shield, as well as the gong and mushrooms on the musician. But yeah, like I said, Fridays is going to be our new stream. It's going to be our random Fridays, casual Fridays, where literally we're just going to do whatever it is I feel, and it's going to be more of a chatty type stream. I think it'll be less instructional and more just chatting about cool stuff. Maybe stuff that you guys have been doing. If you want to share it with me on social media, tag me in it on Onyx Dragon Gaming on your various social media platforms. I will come and have a gander, or I might even start a thread, show us what you're working on, and we can have a look. We can have a look at that together and share some hobby love on a Fridays. That'd be quite cool. But yeah, I want Fridays to just be something different for those people who might be not necessarily super stoked by the project we're working on currently on a long-term basis. You can come in on a Friday and watch all sorts of nonsense. We could be painting Luke Skywalker, or maybe James. If you're listening there, what I might try and do is I might try and find ourselves a Cal Kestis model, because I know you're a huge fan of Cal Kestis. We might see if we can find ourselves a Cal Kestis model to paint on the Friday stream, so you can see him being painted, or at least starting, and then at the end, and then maybe we might deliver him to you afterwards. So, yeah. Wrong James. I'm talking about my littlest friend. James knows. There's too many of you. That's the problem around here. There's too many Jameses. And if I just say the word James, I swear, if you shout the name James around here, like 8 people just turn around and say, yeah, exactly. There's 3 of you at least. I'm pretty certain there's more of you. I swear, I turn around and everyone's a new James. But yeah, so, little James, mini-man, you know who you are. We maybe next week we'll try and find ourselves a Cal Kestis model to have a go at painting. Just for you, bud. But yeah, that'd be really cool. I do like painting. Like I said before, I love painting the Star Wars Legion models. And whilst Cal Kestis isn't an official model as of yet, there is a great community out there for STL files for the game. So I'm sure we're going to find a really nice one. Although I'm sure painting, is it BD1, the little droid in his shoulder, that'll be a bit interesting. Because of how small he'll be on a 28mm model, but it'd be good fun, good excuse to push ourselves. So, where are we? Yes, so we're down to basing tonight, and in between that we'll be doing the command group, because otherwise this will literally be a watching paint dry stream, even with the Happy Hobby hairdryer. So I found, as useful as our loud friend is for painting purposes, with bases, it's actually more of a hindrance. The way it dries both the glue and paint sometimes leads to it being stuff falling off, and the paint drying in really weird ways, because we tend to thin it down a lot. Here we go. So here's an example of what I was saying earlier. Right, so I've managed to nicely and neatly paint over this goblin's foot. This shouldn't be an issue. Like I said, I could try and fix it now, but if I try and fix it now, I'm going to get glue everywhere. So what I'm going to do is just leave it, ignore it, and we will fix it later on. We'll fix it in post, as they say. Right, so that's the first step. That's it, glue's on. The only thing I wish I had in my lovely studio is a Happy Hobby radiator, which is the cousin of the Happy Hobby hairdryer, which is fantastic for bases, because the gentle heat coming through them. I used to do this all the time. Especially during the pandemic, I was painting right next to a radiator, and I just have models lined up across it because it was really good at nicely baking bases, and especially to help speed that up without having to worry about drying times or things, like I said, over drying too quickly. But unfortunately, there's not a Happy Hobby radiator in here, so I'm kind of stuck. So in that case, what we're going to do right now is, while we're waiting for the sand to dry there, we are going to go back to our banner dude, because this time I was smart enough to remember my Rakarth Flash and a few other paints. I tried to think of every possible location, but once again, I guarantee we're going to get to a point where I have forgotten to paint, because, you know, no matter how many times you remember things, I'm terrible on those people. It's like, no matter how many things I have to remember, I'll remember them, and there'll be one thing I've forgotten. So anyway, let's go to it, straight to it. I'm going to put some Rakarth Flash here on our little palette, a little bit of water, because this is a base paint, so we want to thin it down a little bit, and we're going to use this on the stems of the various mushrooms. So the one we painted earlier, I'm going to try really hard not... Have I painted that? Oh dear. That is a bad idea. I have managed to paint that all over the PVA glue. So hopefully, really good washout. We want to mix it up. Yeah, it's always the way. Like every time I swear, I'm like, I've got that paint. I've got that paint. I've got that paint. And some of them may have those paints, and some of those paints may now be a rock, because some paints seem to last forever, and some paints kind of set but are still usable, and some paints just lock up. I've just realised I should have picked up an Eshin Grey before I came here, but we should be able to make do without it. Anyway, now I've averted tragedy by managing to wash off the PVA glue, we can get in here and paint these mushroom stems. So, like I said before, I'm trying really hard on this one to avoid painting the cap that we painted as our last little push on Monday night for James O. You know, he was desperate to see that mushroom before he went to bed, and we managed to make it happen. And there we go, got a nice layer on that one. But there's a couple more mushrooms on the other side, and we'll just nip in there. These ones I could be a little bit more haphazard with, because, you know, we haven't got around to doing their caps yet. So we're just going to give them a good old base coat. And there we are, look at that. Mushrooms. Half done already, pretty much. I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to finishing this whole banner, doing all the highlighting and stitching, and the gobbo that goes with him, obviously, because I think these are going to really look great in the middle of our front rank of goblins. So, where are we? So the next part was the caps of the mushrooms, and I believe, if I remember rightly, because it was in a bit of a rush, we were doing those with some Mephiston red, which we're just going to get straight to, and paint that over the caps. Although this one's going to be fun because it's right next to that lovely skull we painted on Monday, and that took us quite a while. So I really don't want to make a mess on that one. But like I said before, making mistakes happens. We can always go back, see the finished banners. But yeah, banners are going to be like the most important thing on this channel, I think. I've already had friends contact me and be like, "Yes, here's my banner collection. I'm already excited." It's part of the greatness of the return of the old world. Is the return of massed bannered units. I said I'm super stoked for doing a battle standard bearer for this army, and for all the armies I have planned. Today I went through the wonderful task of setting up the YouTube channel for Onyx Gaming, which you can now find over on YouTube. I mean, you can find it; it's got nothing on it, but hopefully, because one thing I'm really sad about is Monday, the video from Monday, we didn't save it. It didn't get saved. I didn't click the right settings on Twitch, so it's not saved, and that I'm kind of sad about that because I'd love to have gone back and seen that again. And for those people who are going to be coming into the stream new, you'll have missed the first episode, and for those who dipped out early, you missed the awesome rants and tangents we went on towards the end of the stream. It was good fun. But like I said, I've made sure this time that not only am I saving it to the computer, but I am saving it to Twitch as well. So you can go back and look at, hopefully as of tomorrow or later tonight, you should be able to go back and look at the past broadcasts. And I said they'll be available on YouTube as well. But I don't want the YouTube channel to just be a carbon copy of this channel here on this stream. There will be different projects we'll be doing on there and completely different things. So, like I said, one of the things we're going to be doing is when the Old World is released on Saturday, when we get a lovely message from one of our friendly local game stores, Onyx Gaming, me and Alistair Arms will be whoosh straight right down there to film a video of us deciding what projects we're going to be doing for the YouTube channel. Find out who's going to be painting Tomb Kings, who's going to be painting Bretonia. Like I said, neither of us is quite sure which one we want to paint, but I think both of us are thankfully we're leaning in opposite directions. I'm kind of leaning towards the Bretonians, he's kind of leaning towards Tomb Kings, but we will let the dice decide, and that will be a video you'll be able to find exclusively on the YouTube channel of Onyx Gaming. And we'll be doing other fun things, like I want to go through my archive of random old models and sort them out, and I thought that might be fun to go through and identify some ancient miniatures, older than some of you probably watching, or not as old, nowhere near as old as some of you watching for some people like us, people like me. So yeah, that'll be the idea for the YouTube channel. Is we'll have the past broadcasts from here, but it will also have its own independent content that's more suited for us filming and editing and sorting out like that. So anyway, more importantly, back to tonight's stream. We are painting mushrooms, a core component of any Night Goblin army. Almost as important as a banner, but not quite. Although I'm pretty certain if Night Goblins could figure out, how to grow a mushroom that was particularly banner-like, they would. The other cool thing I am looking forward to shortly is the arrival of the rest of the Night Goblin army. I think on our next stream on Monday, should most definitely be here. And I think what we'll do on Monday is I will bring in various things, and you guys can help me decide where we should start. What should be our next thing? Should we do some trolls? Should we do some squigs? Should we do some squigs with some guys on it? Should we do a random character? We'll figure that out next Monday, and you'll let you guys decide. But anyway, enough ranting about the future. You guys are here to watch this now. So, next step is after we've done that, I need to find my Agrex Earthshade for all of these. What we're going to do with this? See, we're not going to put this on completely flat. We're going to water it down. No, normally you'd use Lamy medium to water down a wash. But I found that using water sometimes, it gives it a completely different sort of finish and consistency. It draws the pigment out in different ways, which is really useful. for different things. So we're going to use water here because I want more of a thin, sort of somewhere between a glaze and a tint. But I love how when it's watered down as opposed to low and medium helps the pigment sort of flow into more recesses, which is really good if you want like a thin wash that won't stay on the surface as much. But water, I find, helps sort of spread it out and sort of neuter the whole colour. I might be talking that one, but that's how it seems to me anyway. So we're going to put it on the stem of the one that we'd already done, and we're just going to put it on the whole lot over here so that we're ready for the next step. And this one is definitely one we're going to do with our Happy Hobby hairdryer, so I'll quickly mute it for the sake of your lovely ear holes out there. And we're back. Oh, I love that Happy hairdryer. It just makes it evening now. Thank you for joining us. We are back on the best part of Warhammer Old World, banners. So, yeah, you join us at an auspicious time. Right. Now, go back to the Mephiston's Red, which we're going to thin down a lot here, because we just want to sort of put it on tint the top edges, and well, technically bottom edges as well. So we're going to go around the bottom of these caps with a little bit of the original Mephiston Red, and just on the top a little bit, being very careful of the skull. Like I said, we spent so much time on him on Monday, I don't want to ruin it. There we go. Ta-da! All done already. Right, let's make sure we seal this aggro accelerator so we don't knock it over, because Sod's Law says that's what's going to happen. As much as I haven't knocked over a paint in quite some years, but I know Sod's Law says I'm going to do it on stream, because that's how that life works, isn't it? No matter how many precautions you take. One paint that's a bit different shape and size is this white I use, which I can never remember where it comes from, but a friend of mine recommended it and it's been amazing. It's one of the best whites I've ever used. I need to get back in touch with them and find out where it came from, because I'm running low. I need to find out. So anyway, we thin that down so we can go in and do our little dots. Always got to try and remember to be closer to the centre of the screen. If you notice me like disappearing off the edge, please tell me, and I'll try my best to change that. But yeah, there we go. We're losing our point a little bit there. It's clearly not thin enough. This white, because we want it to go nice. We want to use the fact that it's a droplet to help us get the rounder shape that we want, rather than having to sort of literally draw a circle with paint on in the tiny circle. There we go, like that. So we're just going to splodge on a couple more dots, going round the cap, like so. And I've just realised I've got a little splash of red on the stem of this mushroom, but that shouldn't be a problem, because we've got to go back over that with Rakarth flesh anyway. So we will have to go over it again. So let's not be too much of an issue. He says. Okay, so 1, 2, I think 3 would be enough. I think it's the back of the banner as well, not as prominent. So we've done that. We've done the caps now. I've got to remember where I put my Rakarth flesh. Here it is. I'm trying to be tidy and not just have paints covering this surface here, which is what I'm using. If anyone who knows me and has seen my painting desk, you'll know what I mean. I'm one of those people that just pick things up and I put them out and think, I might need that in a minute, and then never put it back. So I end up with 10 or 30 paints. I'm painting on a tiny little square. So I'm trying to be good on stream at least and think about this. So we're finished. Put it away. So yeah, we're just going to go back in here into the stems, just leaving a bit of that wash in the very recesses. We're going to go around, and Robert is your father's brother. It's pretty simple. Thankfully, this is a nice, easy detail to do. So where we've got that red mark, so if you could, let me see if I can find a better way. Yeah, there's a little red mark just at the base there. We can just cover that up. Boom, jobs are good, and all our sins forgiven. Just like that. Hey, Mini Apothecary, nice to see you, buddy. Coming a bit earlier this time. Now we're just going to be catching the end of the stream. Right, so next up, we're going to be doing the banner pole, which is going to be painting the same colour as the spears we painted. Fashionable, yeah, it was well, there's fashionably late, and then there's just before closing time, you know, which was kind of where you were last time. But it's good to be. But thank you for joining us tonight. It's very good to see you. So we're going to go with some Steel Legion Drab. I nearly called it Graveyard Earth there, because that's the colour it used to be called back in the day, kids. Back on the previous range of Citadel paints, the colour that was basically the same thing was called Graveyard Earth, and every so often I go, oh yeah, we need some of X paint. I'm like, that's not what it's called anymore. And this is where we go off on the tangent. Back in the day when Null Oil was Badab Black, and Agrat Surshade was Devil and Mud, I believe, and Rakar's Flesh was Deneb Stone, was the nearest equivalent. Back when we were introduced to foundation paints, which were the birth of what we now call the base paints. There you go. A quick history lesson there of Citadel paints. I say that like there haven't been like 8 different ranges. Who out there remembers hex pots? And not just hex pots, because we had the short stubby hex pots, which are a bit the precursor to our modern friends here. Then we had the hex pots that were the ones before that, where they had the screw off tops. And then even earlier than that, we had the original Coat d'Arms lift off hex pots. Yeah, that's right. You come to this channel for painting streams, and you learn the history of the shape of paint pots. Massively exciting, I know. But I'm just vamping, that's what it is. But yeah. So, as I said, we are getting in here with the Steel Legion Drab, because it's supposed to be our wooden body panel. There's always old hex pots living in a box. Oh, I know. I every so often I swear, like, no matter how many times I do a purge of paint pots, I always come across one. I'm pretty certain I still have an armor wash somewhere. the old armor wash, which was, I don't know, like it was kind of a browny black, if I remember rightly. Like my old hobbyist friends out there, you'll remember. I think the nearest we have to that is now, I want to say, Canoptech Armor Shade. Yeah, I bet you do, Al. I bet you've got loads of them. But unlike me, you probably actually took care of them. Because some of them are still great, even all these years later. And some of them are, like I said, rocks, and some of them are completely separated. But yeah, it's one of the things I love about this hobby, and especially the longer I'm in it, it's like archaeology. You go back, you find some old boxes of miniatures you had like lying around for forever, and you're like, oh, this is from way back in the early 2000s. And yeah, seeing like the evolution of things is always really cool. I'm always really excited when I go, especially if someone says, oh, I've found an old box of miniatures. I'm like, oh, show me, because I love going through old models. It could be anything. It could be a box of Statue Marines from 2nd edition. Hell, it could be, who knows, like fantasy stuff from way back when. You know, could even be Rogue. I've been through a few like old original Rogue Trader boxes of metals, and you get some fabulous finds there. It could be a Chaos Toilet. But yeah, here we go. We're nearly there with our Steel Legion drab. Almost there. I mean, the only problem we're doing this way is painting back in the hand might be a bit of a pain. I should have painted the actual Goblin himself before we did this, really. But I'm just so excited to finish this banner. Like I said, it's the best part of this hobby. The best part of Old World is banners, man. Banners are the best. So yeah, already you can see how it's now standing out. The flag is now standing out from the banner pole. I think we will give this one a quick blast because I just want to get on and on with the next layer as quickly as possible. So, 1 second. That should be enough. But I forgot, I've noticed as well. See, we've got a few metal details on the back. So the banner pole itself has been held together by some sort of crude metal fixing. I just found some of the small metal battleships from the game they used to do. Battlefleet Gothic. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, they're so lovely. I've said before, but I'm a sucker for a space combat game, and I've just realised I've missed the spot of Steel Legion Drab on the front here. Yeah, that's definitely a game that I wish GW would bring back, and more specifically in the Horus Heresy setting. Yeah, that's the one, Battlefleet Gothic. It's great. You have to show me what those are, bud, because I'll be all over those to help you identify them. Yeah, so as I was saying, metal detailing. So we've got this little sort of metal fastening between two bits of sticks to make him a lot longer. And you go, right, hello Onyx, I'm from a certain Russell. I think that makes sense to me. My living friend, I think that's what you mean. Thank you for coming. It's lovely to see you. Hope you're enjoying. Yes, as I said, yes, we've got metal fittings. We've got these Bad Moon, metal Bad Moon's a bit like, where is he? Where's Jeff? Our little mascot. Just like Jeff has on his weights on his net, we have some of those on the end here. So we need to go back to our trusty friend, Lead Belcher, which every time I get confused with grey when I'm trying to pick them from the top down. You can't really see the magnet. You can't really see the metallic part of it. Obviously you can on this lovely, wonderful light, but no, it's away from the light. It's really hard to tell the difference between that and a grey. And I keep going for Eshin grey and thinking, no, that's not it. Right. Yes, no, I appreciate that. I think it might have been that I didn't have some of the settings. I think subsequently I clicked the right things, but I don't think I did at the time. So sadly, I think it's lost to the annals of history, which I said earlier is a bit of a shame. But we live and learn. I think I am both streaming this. I think I've got the right things on Twitch, and I'm recording it for YouTube as well. 1 second, I've got a bit of tickly. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. The cold has come in with vengeance, it seems, the last couple of days. After I finished streaming on Monday, trying to get home, I had to sit in the car park for like 10 whole minutes, waiting for the inside of my windscreen to defrost. You see, code's really been uploaded. Ah, brilliant! Thank you very much. That's helpful. Yeah, as much as I'm trying to embrace this newfangled technology, I don't know enough about it yet. I am willing to learn, so anybody who can offer any advice is always welcome. I will always accept a bit of help and support. But yeah, thank you for that. That really allayed some fears that I had before. I was like, I don't know how to do it, and I have to do it all by myself. But no, I've done it. That means that's one goal. Cheers, bud. Thank you very much. That's very helpful. Like I say, this is one of the things I love about these little communities. It's just this hobby especially, and also it seems like a lot of people on Twitch as well. It is a community, and people are there to help each other. We're not trying to outdo one another. We're just trying to help and put eyes on things, because that's always more fun than trying to beat the other guy, I find. Why not join up and both do something cool? Collaboration's the name of the game. Right, so banner. Back to the banner. We've got these two. Got these little bits done, but I think we've got these two big nails. It seems where they've nailed the banner the simplest way, arguably simplest way. So the last bit of detail we do before we can do some washes is the strapping, which again is going to be the same as we did on the split. So it's going to be some carrot stone. And we're getting ready. Oh wow, cool. Think about that. What night are I playing stream besides Wednesday? Oh yes, I mentioned this before you turned up there, Minion Apothecary. We're going to be streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays and Wednesdays are going to be our ongoing project, so it's going to be Night Goblins of varying descriptions, and then Friday is going to be a casual stream where I paint whatever I feel like. So we're going to have a casual stream on Friday where I paint whatever I feel like. It'll be less tutorially and more casual, and just me having fun painting something random. Because I found actually on Monday, it was really good. Is that even though I am sitting here chatting. If I'm live Friday after 10, he'll be saying, "Oh, I may have to hang in there then." I was planning on doing 6 till 10, but I might now just see if we can keep the hype train running. That'd be awesome. Thank you. See, now you said that, I'm gonna be here like, "Hey guys, enjoy me painting my little army men." 6 to 10 myself. Yeah, I think it's a solid. I think it's a good solid time. I thought 6 till midnight would be cool, and it was. Don't get me wrong. Oh yeah, so there we go. Friday's gonna have to be that's gonna have to be a thing then. We'll do a late night stream on the Friday, and see if we can see who's coming along. Yeah, unfortunately, this is the only sad thing I say about collaboration is obviously there's only so many hours in a week, and there's only so many good hours in a week, so we're probably a bit of a crossover. But yeah, well, I'm happy to push a bit, so you guys can, if you double if you go. Oh my god, yeah. Thank you for both of you. That I'm both going to be like completely overwhelmed, I'm sure. We're like, hello everybody. Hopefully I can keep them entertained. Like I said, we had a real good laugh, it seemed, on the Monday stream after 10. It seemed to transition from a, hey everybody, here's how to paint some goblins, into old man rants at clouds about how the hobby used to be 20, 30 years ago. So if that seems like, you're a bit entertained by comedic rants about the good old days, then yeah, definitely, that'd be fun. Oh yeah, I've been my best behaviour. Yes, that was literally it. One of them gamer streams. Yeah. See, I would do that, but that involves being good at a game, and that I am not. I'm aggressively mediocre at several games. I play a lot. I play a bit of WoW, Hearthstone. I can't do first-person shooters beyond casual. I'll take your word for that. I don't want to say anything bad because he helps me tidy my house, so I can't really be thinking. Well, that's true. Yeah, maybe that's something we'll do in the future. Maybe I will expose. Get on Warhammer Total War 3. Yeah, that might be a good thing. Yeah, we'll take over the old world. Yeah, he is. No, he's awesome. Yeah, he's. Oh, thank you, bud. But yeah, no, definitely, he's a good egg. He's been very helpful for me and the missus. Like I said, my friend little James, he thought he was our servant, our living servant for a while. No, he's just a housemate, but he's a very good egg and very helpful. Anyway, before I start gushing, let's get back to some painting. So, I think we're done. I think I've got a little bit of. I think I might need to go back in. Yeah, there's a little few spots of Steel Legion drab. I've got missing while I'm talking to people. But yeah, no, ranting about stuff is definitely something I'm very good at. If you're one of my long-term friends, you will definitely know that it's quite easy to set me off on a topic. You put a quarter in me and watch me go, and I will tell you about strong opinions I have on many topics. But yeah, especially old miniatures, old games. That's definitely a thing. Even old computer games. Command and Conquer, that was always my jam. Like that was the one game. That was the one game I probably I could have seen myself putting a lot of time and effort into. If it was out nowadays, I might even be convinced to stream one of those, but no. Because as much as I like StarCraft, I'm not crazy. OBS is what I am. Yes, but you know what I mean, James. It's not like a big thing. You know, I'm talking like Red Alert. I'm not talking like Red Alert 3. I'm talking like Red Alert 1, which is fine, but it does look a lot dated. I've been going back and played it recently, and I'm like, yeah, this is a bit dated. And it's one of those games that's been solved. So yes, I am running OBS for here. It was what was here at AAJTCEG, where I'm streaming from. They've got some lovely streaming pods, and I'm using one of theirs for I do not currently have the cash to splash out on all this lovely gear that I'm using. But like I said, I'm renting one of their booths to help me get started. Right, so now we're on to back onto the wash stage. I'm just going to quick look at some of these bases. I like to give them a good tap, because you can really tell then if they're saying, oh, great. So we can do two things at once here. What we'll do is we'll get a cheeky wash. Oh, it's all supposed to be doing the thing through. Yeah, it is. It's very shiny. It's got a lot of cool gear in there. Like I said, if I had several £1,000s, I would totally have a setup similar to this. But as I do not, I am but a poor miniatures painter. One day soon would be cool. Right, so let's get down to washing. So as we did on Monday, what we're going to do is we're going to try and get a good thick coverage on the sort of wood and cloth details, like the pole itself and the cross threaded bits here. We're going to get into there, make sure they're covered quite nicely. But when it comes to the metal parts, what we're going to do is what we did last time, which is we're going to give it a bit of metal, a lurking picture. Thank you very much, that's very kind of you. Engage lurk mode, engage cloaking device. But thank you for joining us. Yeah, so as I said, for the metal bits, what we're going to do is we're going to paint it on and then just give it a quick rub off, so it covers but doesn't super tint the metal. Because we want it to look a bit dirty but not like it's covered. Yeah, I know, but when you get to, be honest, at the moment, when you get past 3 digits, I'm like, that's more money than that's more money than I've seen in a lifetime. You take your hat off, boy, that's $1 bill. If those of you who've seen A Million Ways to Die in the West, it very much feels like that. But yeah, no, like I said, I know nothing about pricing, so like this gear could be £50,000, it could be £2,000, it could be 25p and a couple of Weetabix tokens for all I know. But right now, it's cool. It's a cool location to stream from, and they've been incredibly helpful, helping me set up everything, show me how everything works. Can I say I can learn new technology. I am not quite that old dog that can't learn new tricks, but yeah, sometimes I'm a visual learner, so you show me, everything's great, everything's gravy. So yes, right. So we're not going to blast this with the Holy Hairdryer this time because we've got other things to do. This is the great thing about doing different things at different times. So we're going to let that wash dry, and while that's doing, we are going to find, I'm sure I put it, this is where I'm going to find out the one paint I didn't bring with me, but I did, it's okay, is Mechanica Standard Grey. So, step 1, so these are now dried, give them a little bit of tap, get rid of the loose stones. I like to look, before I do any paint on them, I like to have a quick look round, make sure there's none overhanging the side of the base. Make sure just by running my thumb around the edge, just take off any excess. Look around the bottom of the model, so just making sure there's no sand, like halfway up a robe or covering a foot or anything. Now, there's a little bit near his foot there, but I think we can get away with that, so that'll be fine. So we'll do that on all 5 of them. Sorry. So just quickly run round. Oh, so he's got a little bit up the side of his foot. So, I'm down with my lovely hobby knife, which I'm desperately going to try not to stab myself with. So, it's this foot here, just on the side. What we're going to do, lightly, just because we can just literally scrape individual grains off. And that's all done. So he's done. Number 3. Oh, there's a little bit on his foot. Job done. Jeff, how are you looking, my dude? No, some of your metal weights have got covered. So we're just going to gently, because we're going to gently as we can, because we want to just flick off the grains of sand without tearing through the paint. So he's got some on a couple of these weights, and a big bit in between his robe on the floor. So we're just going to give that a little bit of a scrape. Okay. Oh, and the inside of this foot as well. That's done. And then our final friend here. This is the one we managed to get completely over the foot. So on this one, we are going to have to be really careful because there's a lot of it. But it's coming off, as you can see, it's coming off really easily. You know, just a little bit of a gentle scrape and off it comes. Cool. Right, and he's ready to go. So, next step is my big old brush. Because with this, what we're going to do is we're going to use some paint. So there's a big splodge there. And then we are going to water the ever-living what's it down. Because we want this to be really thin. Because actually, the great thing about this is sand is really good at absorbing paint. So, how thin is that? That's looking a bit more. So, I'll wash that out again. So, this is the magic. Here we go. So, I've watered this right down. So, I don't know if you can see, it's almost like milk. If it rose, if it's actually walked through. That's fair. Me personally, I like to keep them like they're sitting on top. If they're meant to be like trudging through mud, of like someone like, I don't know, it's like Steel Legion, Death Corps Krieg, say, they're like trench things. I might put some mud, but that's be a bit of a different thing. I probably use basing pastes, which are a lot sort of finer in terms of sort of gloopiness. But yeah, anyway, the reason I like sand is because of how easy it is to paint. So what I'm doing is literally just splotting this grey on top and letting sort of capillary action, which is the fancy word for being sucked across the paint, off the brush. Please hold your jokes. This is a family-friendly stream. It makes it you don't have to sort of spend ages getting in there in between the grains with the paint. You can just literally paint across the top. Now, yes, this does mean it'll take longer to dry than if the paint was a bit thicker, but you save time over. I think you save a lot of time overall. Yeah, I know. No smut on him. No. You save a lot of time overall in the application time. And the thing is, you can always be doing something else while paint is drying. But if it's taking you ages to paint something, you can't. You know, that's the hard part. You can't It's hard to multitask with only 2 arms and 1 brain. When it comes to painting, it's hard to paint 2 different things at the same time. I'm not going to say impossible because someone out there's going to be like, well, I can paint with 1 eye and 1 hand. But for me, I have not mastered that skill. So I am just going to use cheats to get there. Also, it does help that your paint goes a lot further. Normally, when it comes to basing, the colours I use for basing, I try and see if there's like an airbrush variant, because then it's already thinned down. You get a lot more of it in a pot, and it's already been thinned down for you. So it really helps go. It helps it because it's already thinned down. You don't need to put as much water in it, and it helps go. It goes a lot further because it's designed to go through an airbrush. So the pigments tend to be a bit closer, a bit denser. So here we go. Come on, Jeff. It's your turn. Our favourite little buddy here. Here we go. Yeah. So yeah, this particular method that I'm using with Mechanica Standard Grey is because I wanted them to have like a sort of undergroundy, cavey kind of feel to them. But I've used a brown edging to kind of help them blend in with other armies. So whilst they have their own little sort of theme in their basing, so where they're from, if you put them next to, say, the way like some elves, like I've done previously, where I've kind of gone for more of like a foresty feel, more of a brown feel, as opposed to a grey sort of rock and dust feel. The brown edges will help tie them together. These look really cool if you do an edging of Skaven Blight, sorry, not Skaven Blight, Storm Vermin Fur is another great edge to the base, which helps make it look a lot more undergroundy. If I had a lot more time and patience, I would love to get some like tiny little mushrooms and funguses and things to put on these bases, and I might try and see if I can find some to put on our bigger characters' bases, so maybe on the trolls or the Mangler Squigs. Might see if we can track some of those down to really go to town on their bases. But again, at the end of the day, it's all about army effect. You know, it's how, especially with ranked up units, it's even more so. Like, because you'll see it as a block, and if they're all on they're on a nice similar basing style, they all look. It makes them look awesome. There was an old adage back in the day when I can get definitely, there are some 3D printed ones I can get hold of. I have had a look, but that involves a lot more effort right now than I have. I've been so busy getting ready for these streams that I haven't had a chance to look. But as I was saying, back in the day there was an old adage that used to be the important parts of models are faces and bases. If you can get those two things right, or put a lot of extra effort into both of those things, your overall models will look even better. Like they will look like 10, 20 times better, because they're the things that you're going to see the most of. You know, it doesn't have to be a mega detailed base. It doesn't have to be, you know, like have its entire. It doesn't have to be a full-on diorama. So, like I said, I think, there we go. This base here on this little fella is enough. You know, there's a little bit of grass there. It's got the greyish tinge to it, so it kind of looks like it's on the edge, coming out of a cave. Might be a bit of moss or whatever there. And like I said, the brown edging just helps lift it off. Right, let's see if this banner has dried. Oh, there's a couple of bits of pooling, which we should be able to wick away really quickly, because they're just in the very deepest, darkest recesses of the black banner. Nearly there. Awesome. So, okay. So, next step, now that we've done all that washing, is to go to our trusty black paint to tidy up the banner itself. Because the banner itself, oh, no, that's fair enough. Thank you very much for joining us. And sharing some anecdotes and things. Yes, so in order to keep it tidy, we're going to go back in and just touch up all the areas of black where we've gone over with the various other colours, and also sometimes where the wash has landed. I just realised that part wasn't actually part of the design. I just added a little spur onto that moon. We're just going to neaten it up, make it one nice uniform colour, and make sure that we've got a nice base to highlight from, because that will be the last step in this banner, will be to highlight the black and the metalwork and things. Ooh. Can you tell I'm really focusing now, because I'm finding it harder and harder to talk and paint at the same time with these details. I'm really worried I don't want to mess it up. But yeah, on these big fat panels, I can talk away as much as I like, because they're a lot easier. But yeah, thankfully we didn't make too many paint splashes, but I'm just making sure I go over absolutely everything, so it's all a nice uniform base for which to paint. Because sometimes when you spray things and then you paint over it, even with the same colour, the finish is ever so slightly different, and it's very noticeable. So there we go. That's our black on the banner. All done. I'm just going to quickly give it a blast with the old Happy Hobby hairdryer. And we're done. We're back again. So that's been dry. So we're going to go on to highlight. It's just like the robes we did on Monday. Let's go back to ADH. Yes, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. If you get a chance, do you mean to bring them down and leave them? I will put them to good use and figure out a way of distributing them to people who wish to join the Marine Painting Expo. That's very kind of you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Right, so yes, one thing I must remember to do is get some more Eshin Grey, because this pot's getting to the end of its life and it's kind of sad. Right, so what we're going to try and do is we're going to give a nice thick chunk, like I said, when we're doing it's very similar to when we're doing the robes, we're going to give a nice thick chunky highlight of Eshin Grey on all the edges, and also these raised areas of the banner, and where the stitch, we're going to try and paint highlights as well on the different areas that have been stitched together, because clearly this, well, goblins aren't exactly the finest craftspeople in the world. They're not elves. They're not going to be making fine tapestries, and also they let things, rot with it must be hard to keep a cloth banner nice and clean and tidy when you live in a big underground cave. So it's a bit raggedy. But yeah, so where it's stitched together, like here, for example, down here, the one bit is slightly raised above the other. So what we're going to try and do is put a little highlight between them, and we're going to give the edges again. Like I say, let the brush do the work for you. If you can run it sort of semi-perpendicular to the edge you're trying to highlight, so much the better, because you can see how quick it is when I'm not trying to hand paint a straight line. So the raggedy nature of this banner does help with that as well. If I make a mistake, it's just going to make it look more raggedy. So in here, where it's a bit more difficult to get the brush, I'm just going to try and paint it in by hand, which we've managed there. And then we will just go for this tear here, just to emphasize that as well. We want to make sure that pops out. So that's the front side. On the back side, I'm just going to pick up the edges. Thin some more paint down because it's already drying out. Because, like I said, it's been a bit too long on this being using this paint, so it's starting to set. Cool. So just trying to get in there. We're going to get all the edges done. And like I said before on Monday, don't worry if you make it too chunky. We can always go back in with the black and sort of reverse highlight and go back in and make sure it looks nice and neat by sort of refilling in the black back to where it's only a nice thin edge that we've got, and not a massive thick blob. Okay, so I'm going to try and put a bit of thinner, but as in thinner paint bit thicker line down this curve to help emphasise it. And then up the top here, where the banner's been nailed on, we're just gonna do the edging like that, and again on the tears, come through and do them. Right, so that is the first layer of those done. I'm going to switch to my pointier brush for this next layer, he says, if we can find it. Oh, behind my ear. How many times have you guys done that when you've been painting? Like, I don't know if you're like me, and when you finish your brush, usually have one here and one on the other ear, and the amount of times I leave them behind my ear and I just cannot find them for love and money. I'm just like, I've lost it, where is it? Yeah, thankfully I did think about it in time. Maybe I should make a custom emote on the stream for that. It's behind your ear. But no, so we're going for some Dawnstone, which thankfully is a nice fresh pod, so it's going to be a lot easier to work with. And with this tiny brush we can get some really nice fine highlights. So we're going to start around this tear. There we go, look at that, that's so much sharper. And then we're going to come in on this bottom edge of the flag, making sure to leave some of that Eshin grey showing, so we get a nice transition between the layers. And yeah. Oh, he says, and he's dropping them all. We'll get this in. Oh, a bit too far there. We'll go back in with some black in a minute and fix that. But yeah, so again, side of the brush, nice and sharp, and it's done. So yeah, so one of the things, like I said, one of the things I'm looking forward to doing on Friday this week, I've already decided, is we're going to be doing some Deathwing. Oh, excuse me, don't know where that came from. It's not talking about the Dark Angels, I promise. No, it's definitely not talking about Dark Angels. That's what it was. So yeah, on Friday, I'm looking forward to doing some of this fella's squad mates, doing something completely different to what we're doing right now. Because I've been watching the Warhammer community posts that have been going up this week about the new Dark Angels Codex, and I am super stoked and super excited. I've already got my Deathwing Assault box pre-ordered. That's locked in. All sorted. I cannot wait for that to turn up, and we can have a look at what's in that one day when it comes out. The first day that comes out, we'll have to grab it and have a look. Mace, yes, don't forget. Don't worry, I've not forgotten, because I'm going to be all about the sword and board with those Deathwing Knights. Yeah, they are definitely the way I want to go. I'm so excited they've got that option now. I love the classic sword and board look. You know, sword and shield. I should say sword and shield. I'm used to saying sword and board. That's very much like a sort of, got that from World of Warcraft, talking about tanks and things. But yeah, I'm so excited they've now got the option of swords, because I feel that all elite Dark Angels should have swords. Maces are for chaplains. That's what they are. But yeah, I that box looks so cool. I'm even getting like super giddy over the upgrade frame. That's how excited I am. I'm like I keep looking at pictures of it that were spoiled on Christmas Day. I'm like, oh, look at that head. That head's really cool. That'd be really useful for this. And oh, look at that. That'd be really cool for doing this conversion, or for adding to this character. I'm really looking forward. One thing I've decided I am doing is, if there is no new Ezekiel model, which there have been some rumours I have seen that he might get a new model, but maybe we'll find out when the LVO reveal stream goes up on Friday morning, or Thursday if you're in Las Vegas. I'm very excited to see what comes out of that, because I love always looking at those streams, or at least their aftermath, and seeing what's been revealed. See if there's any more new Dark Angels to be shown off. If not, like I said, if not, I've already got plans. I was looking at those inner circle brothers or inner circle companions, whatever they call them. They're calling them in 40k, and I'm very excited to, because one of them's holding his two-handed sword in that classic style, which looks like Ezekiel. And there's a really cool Watcher in the Dark on the upgrade frame with the book. So I'm thinking, in the same way they've done with Azrael, with the Watcher on the same base, I'm going to get that guy, put the guy with the book on that base, and then there's one of the heads on the upgrade frame has the half mask and the eyes visible. And if I can convert a bionic eye, then and if I can get hold of the original metal Ezekiel's back banner, then I'm going to make a Primaris Ezekiel, because he doesn't deserve to be left out. If all his friends are being upgraded, he should be upgraded. Because as much as I really wish it would, that Brother Bethel would join their ranks, I don't think that's going to happen, sadly. But we can hope. Right. So where are we? So now we've done the highlights on the black. I'm going to put in the stitching on the rope on the banner, and I'm going to use carrick stone like I did for the stitching at the top, the rope, because I figure they probably use the exact same sort of twine for these things. So we're just going to go over these little raised bits here, little stitching this in across these bits of raggedy banner. We'll put these in and then we'll highlight them the same way we do the stitching at the top. But yeah, already, how cool does that look? You know, it's stitched together. Yeah, this is the great thing about like, as much like banners and stuff are really cool. And some of the I love banners with raised detail on, because I can't draw to save my life, which might surprise some of you. You know, I can paint to a nice degree, but I'm very bad at drawing anything. So I used to rely a lot on raised parts, like raised details. So like Space Marines, I used to use, if it didn't have a raised pad, I would just not do that in my army. It's so like, I might want to do a Blood Angels army. If I couldn't get raised shoulder pads with the symbol on them, no, I'm not doing that. But then I discovered how to do transfers really easily and to make them look good, which will definitely be a stream that we're doing. Especially if we're doing these Deathwing Terminators. If we get to, hopefully, if we're lucky enough to get to a stage where we can do that, I can show off how I do transfers. And again, the secret ingredient for that, well, there's two secret ingredients for that. One is, I'm going to get this wrong because I get it wrong every time, but there's a product out there called either Microset or Microsol, and I can never remember which one's which, but it's the red one. If you search that in Google, you'll come up with the two things. If the pot that comes in has got blue writing on the outside, that's the wrong one. If it's got red stuff on the outside, that's the right one. So it's either Microset or Microsol. So that's the first of the secret ingredients. And the second one, the most important one, especially when it comes to Space Marine shoulder pads, is our trusty friend, the Happy Hobby hairdryer. This thing makes putting transfers on rounded surfaces, makes it work. Like I said, when we get to that stream, I will show you guys how that's done. And it's like I said, it's super quick, super easy. And I swear, once you've seen it done and seen how easy it is, it will change your life, and you'll just make all your transfers will go on beautifully. Like I said with this one, that's a good example. Look at it; it doesn't look like it's like a transfer. It doesn't look like it's stuck out. The way I do it, it just makes it blend straight in. The four things you need are those the two secrets. The two secrets are the Microset stroke Sol and the hairdryer. That's what gives it makes it go flat. But the way to make it disappear, make it the edging look invisible, is to use gloss varnish and matte varnish. So if you put, yes, oh my god, they are the best things ever. Yes, but if you gloss varnish the surface you're putting the transfer on first, you slap the transfer down, and then you put gloss varnish over the top. Once you've flattened it down, once it's all nice and flat, you put another layer of gloss varnish on the top, and what that does is it makes the film around disappear. The film around the transfer, because once you'll see when you cut them off, they have like edges. There's like they're on a bit of like see-through paper. The bit with the colours is on a bit of see-through paper, and then you do that, and then you mat it all down with matte varnish, and said that's the final effect, and it just looks so cool and so professional. It looks like you painted it on, which is what you're going for. So yeah, I'll show that off on a stream at some point. But for now, we're back with our Night Goblin-y friend. So we put that first layer of Carrick Stone on. So now we need to find our Ushabti bone, our ubiquitous little Ushabti bone, and we're just going to highlight both the stitching on the banner and the stitching at the top. So we'll go for these stitches first. Just try and highlight, leave a little bit of Carrick Stone in behind. Just gentle. Make sure that's all covered. And again on the bottom there, like so. Ta-da! That's the stitching done. I'm going to sort of wipe a bit of the brush on, paint off. We can sort of semi-dry brush this over these, using the side of the brush to just pick up those strands of rope. And on the back side we do the same thing. Just sort of semi-dry brush it, over brush it gently, like so. Just give us a little bit of detail. And then we'll finish off the stitching on the back side, like so, and there we have it. We have our banner. Ta-da! Look at that, our first flag. Salute. Yeah, that is going to look absolutely awesome in the middle of our unit. So next up, we're going to quickly do the greenery on these fellas, so we can push forward a little bit, and we can get onto some cool other detailings like the gong, this guy's cool shield, and they're really fun to paint. And what we're going to try and do is around the hood of this fella, we're going to do some dags, some little triangles around the sort of edge of the rim of his hood, to make him stand out as the boss of that unit. But first, we are going to start by doing the goblin skin, which for those of you who were here on Monday, starts off, as you can remember, with Death Guard Green, and for those who don't remember, still also starts with Death Guard Green. This is just a quick method of doing the Night Goblin skin specifically, because it's quite a pale green, which is what we want for these guys, because they, like I said before, they live underground, and they don't see a lot of sunlight, so their skin will be quite pale, because they only get tanned by moonlight, because that's the time they like to come out. So I'm going to just slap on a couple of quick thin coats. Because, as I said before, you can it becomes the mantra of this stream. You can always add paint, but you can't take it away. So thinner is better, because the thinner it is, the less likely it is to clog up detail. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to do it on these, because I kind of want to make sure that this guy is finished as well. Seems to be putting so much effort into his little flag. I don't want to leave him on his own, because also I really want to see what these guys look like all ranked up. But whatever we don't get finished tonight on this unit, I am going to paint them off stream, finish painting them off stream, so that you guys can see what they look like all finished. And I will put them on our socials. I'll put them on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, so you can see in glorious high definition what these guys look like all finished, and more importantly all ranked up, because again, this is Old World, this is not Age of Sigmar we're doing this army for, so we're back to square bases as Priestley intended. I'm going to use that phrase. As Rick Priestley intended, we're going to use square bases to rank these fellas up in a beautiful block of Night Goblin Spearmen. Totally not hiding several Night Goblin fanatics. No, please come close to that unit. Just, they've got something to tell you. That's what it is. Just come a bit closer. And they'll just tell you something cool. They'll tell you something cool about the moon. They have loads of moon facts. That's all they know. Moon facts. So, yeah. Like I said, I can't wait till we get the Night Goblin Fanatic models, because just the expressions on their faces are just absolutely great. Off their face on fungus beer and other stimulants. Madcap mushrooms, I think, was always the specific name of the species of mushroom.